The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is number 1 on the list of greatest games ever. Released in 1998 for the Nintendo 64 and produced by series co-creator Shigeru Miyamoto, the game became an instant classic, but does it still deserve the top spot on the list? A few months ago, I came across a list of 200 greatest games based on various media rankings and Metacritic scores. I figured it'd be fun to experience these games and share my thoughts. I'll link the list in the description for anyone interested. When Ocarina first came out, I was a PlayStation kid, so this one passed me by until I got to play it on the GameCube, thanks to the Master Quest disc that came with The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. I wouldn't originally finish the game until 2014, when I played the game on the 3DS. This is still a great game, though the original has aged graphically and some of the dungeons, especially in the mid-game, feel a little long and can confuse new players. And yes, I'm looking at you, Water Temple. There are some great characters, but the world can feel a little sparse, especially Hyrule Field, which serves as the central location for the various areas attached to its outskirts. The story is great though, especially in the beginning. The story starts by explaining that the Kokiri are a forest people who all have a fairy, all except one, Link, the hero of the game. It cuts to Link having a nightmare, where he sees a girl fleeing on horseback from a strange man who is also on horseback. The man stops and smiles at Link before attacking him, which is where the nightmare ends. We cut to a massive tree with a face and an amazing moustache, the Deku Tree, the guardian of the forest. He asks Navi the fairy to fetch Link to him.
Hello.
After gearing up, because this little turd Mido, who won't let us pass without a sword and a shield equipped, like he will slide left and right with his hand up, although it's satisfying to see his response if you go to him with them equipped first. The Deku Tree explains to Link that a man from the desert has cursed him, and he needs Link to venture into his body to lift the curse. Then he opens his mouth for the first dungeon of the game, which takes place inside his body. Once Link has completed the dungeon, it's explained that he wasn't successful, and the Deku Tree dies anyway, but not before explaining about the Triforce and that Link needs to head into Hyrule, find Princess Zelda, and stop the man from the desert. He also instructs Navi the Fairy to accompany you, and gives Link the spiritual stone of the forest to take with him. Upon leaving Kokiri Village, Saria, Link's Kokiri friend, gifts him with her ocarina to remember her by, and Link, looking a little embarrassed and shocked by this, runs off. It's a cute scene, honestly, and Link reacts like I think a little boy would. We're then introduced to Hyrule Field, and one of the most annoying characters in the game, the owl Kaepora Gaebora, who appears periodically to drop some exposition on you. Okay, I'm going to be fair, he has some interesting lore to tell you, you just can't avoid him or skip his dialogue. And to make it worse, when he's finished talking, he asks if you understand what he said. And every single time, the cursor defaults to no. So if you're spamming the A button to get through the dialogue, with which how slow the text boxes can be, you might be tempted to. You can accidentally cause him to repeat everything he said. You make your way to Hyrule Castle. After dodging guards and waking a sleeping farmer with a chicken, then dodging more guards, you'll finally meet a young Princess Zelda, who has had prophetic dreams about meeting Link. She introduces the main villain of the game, Ganondorf. Ganondorf in this game, he just steals every scene he's in, and we're introduced to him as he's meeting the King of Hyrule. He suddenly turns to look at us through the window and smiles, like he knew we were going to be there. Zelda explains further about the Sacred Realm, which she believes Ganondorf is trying to enter so he can claim the Triforce, and goes into detail about her plan to stop him. She tasks Link with claiming the remaining 2 stones of water and fire so they can enter the Temple of Time and claim the Master Sword to stop him. So Link sets off to gather the other 2 stones, and along the way becomes blood brothers with the Goron leader, Darunia, with some sweet dance moves, and becomes engaged to Princess Ruta of the Zora tribe of aquatic people. With the 3 stones in hand, Link returns to Hyrule Town. As he approaches, lightning flashes and we're treated to a slightly familiar scene with Zelda being carried away on a horse. Zelda throws an ocarina, the Ocarina of Time, as she's pursued by Ganondorf, who doesn't like the way you're looking at him and attacks you with magic, knocking you down before pursuing Zelda. Link grabs the ocarina from the moat and receives a psychic message from Zelda, where he learns the Song of Time. He heads to the Temple of Time to open the Door of Time, and pulls the Master Sword from its pedestal. That's a lot of things labelled of time for one sentence. The screen goes white and we see Ganondorf appear to gloat like a moustache-twirling villain, telling you his plan all along. Link awakens in a strange place and is informed by the Sage of Light that he's been asleep for 7 years since he claimed the Master Sword, so he will be big enough for the challenges ahead. The camera shifts and we can see that Link is now an adult, and strangely his clothes have grown with him. He explains that Ganondorf entered the Sacred Realm while you were asleep and now rules Hyrule as the King of Evil. Link is then tasked with awakening the 6 sages so he can face Ganondorf and save Hyrule. And that's pretty much the story. From here you go to various temples to solve the puzzles and beat the bosses to rescue and awaken the sages. Along the way, a mysterious person who introduces themselves as Sheik will tell you where to go next and teach you songs that will warp you from place to place, which is very useful. I always enjoy the first half of the game over the second half as it feels more streamlined. There are more character moments and the world doesn't feel as sparsely populated. The time travelling between young Link and adult Link works well and isn't overused. I think there's 2 dungeons that really require you to go back to being young Link to complete. So what about gameplay? Link is great to control in his first 3D adventure. He's agile and has a decent range of movements. His running speed could be a little faster, and that would be nice if he could sprint, but it's just me being a little spoilt by more modern games. The controls for this game are considered revolutionary for the time, and some of them would continue into previous games. The main one will be Z targeting. By pressing the Z trigger, Link will lock onto the nearest enemy or NPC. While locked on, Link can dodge and strafe around and will automatically aim ranged weapons at whatever he's targeting. Navi will assist by flying to whatever can be targeted as a visual marker. This works really well except when the camera gets in the way, and you're unable to target them because Navi has moved to a different target. Keys, these bat type enemies, are the worst for this. Navi has 3 different colours to represent what you can target. Yellow for enemies, green when she wants to attract your attention to places of interest, and blue for NPCs you can talk to or things you can interact with. For obvious reasons, most equipment used by young Link can't be used by adult Link. Things like the ocarina, bombs, Deku sticks and nuts are shared between both ages. Young Link's weapons are very childlike, like a slingshot and a boomerang. There's also the Mask of Truth, which can be used to speak to gossip stones, which reveal clues about secrets you can find nearby. Adult Link's items are naturally more mature and most are offensive, like the bow, which now has magical arrows you can acquire, the hookshot, which is later upgraded to the long shot, an item that can be used to get across long gaps or pull yourself up onto high ledges. You can equip items to the C buttons so they can be used on the fly if they can be used offensively, like bows, the hookshot, bombs, or they can be used outside of combat, like the ocarina. This can slow the adventure down a little as you have to go into the menu and swap equipment around constantly. For the first time we have access to transport across Hyrule, as we can now ride the horse Epona. The quest to win Epona's trust starts early in the game, once you've spoken to Princess Zelda, and culminates once you become an adult in a fun minigame. Epona can be summoned at any time while in Hyrule Field by playing her song on your ocarina. She's able to jump fences and across gorges to help you access other areas. This brings us nicely to the ocarina itself. You will be using this instrument a lot during this adventure. With it, you can change the time of day, the weather, and even in certain places, call a scarecrow that you can use as an anchor point to get to hidden areas using the hookshot or long shot. There's 12 songs to learn in total. Some you'll use more than others. I found myself playing the Sun song the most, especially if you're looking to collect the gold Skulltula tokens, as some only spawn at night. Or if you're dealing with Re-Dead, because it stuns them, and they are one of the scariest enemies you can face. Like zombies, they shuffle towards you and can stun you with a weird scream before they jump on Link's back. You play the ocarina by pressing the C buttons and the A button in the correct order. Some are harder to remember than others, so it's a good idea to have a list to refer to. Otherwise you'll have to scroll through the various pause menus to locate the right notes to play. A lot. Most of the main game takes place in the various dungeons, and they're all interesting and varied. Though in the late game, some of them feel a little long, and there are some sections where it's not immediately obvious where you need to go. There's a section in the forest temple where you're supposed to climb some vines. However, there's Skulltula lurking on there that attack you if you try to climb up. You don't have access to the bow yet, and the hookshot doesn't reach high enough. Turns out, if you stick to the right of the vines, you can climb up without being hit, and my first playthrough I was stuck for ages and had to look up a guide. Getting the Megaton hammer in the fire temple is frustrating, requiring you to run along a tight path before the timer runs out and the fires around the chest reignite. This took me a couple of tries. Now let's talk about the black sheep of Zelda dungeons, the Water Temple. It's a really confusing dungeon until you get used to it. My main issue with it is the amount of time you have to keep swapping out your iron boots with your normal boots and vice versa to sink down and float back up. It really ruins the pacing of the dungeon. My favourite dungeon has to be the Shadow Temple, mostly just for the boss, which takes place on a giant bongo, where you face two giant hands with a hidden face you can only see if you have the Eye of Truth. Young Link has the most interesting dungeon locations, one of them being inside the body of a giant fish. And I've already mentioned the first dungeon, which is inside the Deku Tree. Koji Kondo returns to compose the music for this game, and I love the music. Saria's theme is my favourite, and the overworld theme has been redone. There's some really dark and foreboding music, and some really light-hearted stuff too. There's no voices in this game except for shouts and laughs. The Great Fairies make some very suggestive sounds. Ganon's laugh is very sinister. The characters are vibrant and colourful. I really like how Ganondorf is portrayed. You can tell the guy has a plan and will stop at nothing to succeed. And as with any open world game, there's a lot of distractions from your quest. There's fishing and shooting galleries, which can reward you with upgraded inventories. Lots of collectibles too. One of the main ones is golden Skulltulas. Collecting these will free the inhabitants of the Skulltula house, who will reward you with items. Though collecting all 100 only nets you 200 rupees, so I didn't bother getting them all this time. Majority of my criticisms come from the age of the game, but I honestly really enjoy every time I play this, and I can see why it is the top spot on the list. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend you do. It's available on the Switch now, courtesy of the Nintendo 64 emulator you get through the Nintendo Online membership. I may do a review of the 3DS version later down the line. So, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to like and follow, and I'll see you next time for the next game on the list, which is another Legend of Zelda title, Breath of the Wild.